Welcome to Unsightly Opinions. If you're new, my name's Tamara. Today, I'm very excited. We are going to be doing a top 5 list video. Today's topic is the 5 best things you can do when you meet a blind person. I've already done a video talking about the 5 worst things you could do if you meet a blind person. If you haven't checked that out, I'll link it in a card above and in the description down below. But today, I want to talk about the best things you can do when you meet a blind person. Because a lot of people get confused and don't know what the right thing is or get nervous. So let's dispel all those misconceptions and jump in no particular order with number 1. Don't assume somebody needs your help. Always ask. It's important as a person with disabilities to have autonomy. It's important to have rights over your own actions and your own decisions. When you have a disability, people tend to assume a lot of things about you. They tend to assume that you may not be capable of doing X, Y, or Z. They may assume that you don't know your own mind. And when you encounter somebody in the real world, it's important to dispel yourself of that belief. Because we as disabled people do know our own mind. We are capable of making our own decisions, and we will be able to ask for help when we need it. So if somebody looks lost or confused, don't drag them across an intersection if they're trying to cross the street. Don't pull them in the direction that you think they want to go. Always ask. If somebody looks confused and they're standing at a street corner or they're stopped in the middle of nowhere and they look a little bit concerned, maybe stop, try and get their attention verbally and say, "Excuse me, do you need assistance?" And if they say yes, try and listen to them. Ask how you can be of assistance. Don't just assume you're going to know how to help them. In almost every situation, the person who is disabled, who needs assistance, can ask for the type of assistance that they need. Whether that's giving them sighted guide by taking your elbow, whether that's having you read out street signs to them, whether that's telling you when it's safe to cross. Don't assume somebody can't do something just because they have a disability. Most of us are very independent and can do just about anything you do, even though we might do it in a different way or it might take longer. So again, when in doubt, ask. And if they say no, don't be hurt. They are probably fully capable of doing it on their own. Just go on about your day. Number 2, use your name and the person's name if possible when greeting someone who's blind. Because it can be very difficult when you're visually impaired or blind to be able to identify someone's voice. It's a lot harder than just looking at someone's face. This will vary slightly depending on how much of a visual impairment someone has, but for me, over my entire life, I have never been able to identify someone visually. Some visually impaired people won't need that assistance, but let them tell you if that's something that they need or not. Say, if I'm running into you, if I'm saying hi, would it be helpful if I tell you who I am when I'm saying hi to you? And they can say yes or no. When you're trying to greet or say hi to somebody who's blind, it's important to not only use their name so that they know that you're talking to them, but also use your name so it gives them a context clue as to who's speaking. For example, "Hi John, it's Sarah." Using the name of the person who's blind first tells them that you're talking to them. It can be very difficult to understand or to know if somebody's talking to you or somebody else. I can't tell you how many times I've said hi back to somebody and they were not talking to me. I didn't know who they were, but I was just trying to be polite and say hi back. Or somebody's on the phone and I think they're talking to me, so I respond to them. I don't know they're on the phone. So if you use their name in the greeting, they're gonna know you're talking to them. Also, using your name tells them who's speaking. It can be additionally helpful if you give them a context clue. If you're in a new setting that you don't necessarily see them in every day, for example, you see them every day at work, but now you're at Costco, say, "Hi Tamara, it's Steve from work." Then I'm gonna have that context clue to place you with the voice I recognize. So try and use both your name and the name of the person who is blind or visually impaired in the greeting. Number 3, use descriptive and specific language. I hate the word "over there." I hate it. It's useless to me. I don't know what it means. Over there could literally be anywhere. So if you're trying to describe to somebody where something is, try and use as many descriptors as possible. Don't go overboard, but try and use very specific descriptors, like a location, a reference point, and a distance. And what I mean by that is if somebody says something like, "The pen is on the coffee table 2 feet in front of you," I'm going to have a really specific idea in my head of where that thing is. I'm going to know not only how far away from me it is, but I'm going to have a reference to something that I already know where it exists in space, and I'm going to know how to look for it. So if it's on the coffee table versus on the floor, those are two different locations. So it gives me a height, a distance, and a location. That's really helpful in terms of descriptor. If you're trying to give somebody directions on the street, say maybe go 2 intersections forward, then it's a left and 3 houses down. That's specific. Saying it's left and then you go right and then you go left again somewhere up there, that's useless. Or saying, oh, it's over there, useless. Try and use specific locations. Try and use reference points that might be near there that the person who's visually impaired or blind already knows. Like, it's next to the bus stop 3 streets up, or the post office is right next to the grocery store on the left-hand side. Whatever is going to be the most descriptive for the specific situation you have. Number 4, keep common spaces tidy and consistent. I cannot emphasize this enough, and I know this is a common qualm for just about every blind or visually impaired person I have ever met. People don't understand that when you have a visual disability and when you can't scan a space to look for something, moving it, changing it, putting things where they shouldn't be is extremely frustrating, confusing, and sometimes dangerous. First, doors should either be fully open or fully closed. Half-open doors are horrible. With the light perception that I have, I may be able to see that there's a light source coming from somewhere, i.e. an open door, but I won't be able to see that the door is only half open. So I will walk straight into a half-open door and it hurts. Same thing goes with putting things away, putting things on countertops. If somebody puts a glass on the countertop and I come in and I don't expect there to be a glass on the countertop, I'm probably gonna knock over the glass and smash it everywhere. I've hurt myself pretty badly quite a few times because somebody's put something somewhere I don't expect it to be. Same thing goes with putting things away. When things have consistent homes, when things are organized, it really de-stresses my life and how I have to go about things. If you have a consistent place for everything, I don't have to wonder, I don't have to ask for help, I'm never losing anything. But if there isn't, if things are disorganized, I can't find anything. So if you're living in a common space, if you're working in a common space with somebody who's blind or visually impaired, please try and keep countertops and surfaces open, clean, and free of clutter. Keep things off the floors and fully open or fully closed doors because it will prevent a lot of injuries and frustration. Number 5, treat somebody with a disability, treat somebody who's blind the same way you treat anyone else. That has many layers to it. So what I mean by that is don't assume somebody is incapable. Don't make assumptions about somebody. Don't assume that it's okay to ask somebody a very personal question if you've just met them. If it's not a question you'd ask somebody else without a disability, it's probably not okay to ask the person with a disability. Not all of us want to be fountains of knowledge, sharing information about our personal lives with anyone we meet on the street. If a question is personal, let the person who's blind or visually impaired decide when they want to tell you that information, if ever. That's their choice and their right. We want to have the same rights and privacy as anyone else. Also, don't try and do everything for us. That isn't helpful, it isn't wanted, and it doesn't help us feel autonomous. We want to live our lives with the same dignity and respect as any other person. If you treat us that way, we will treat you that way. I hope this video was entertaining for you. I hope you learned something. What was your favorite fact? I'd love to hear about that in the comments down below. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by hitting that subscribe button, liking, sharing, and again, leaving me comments, letting me know what you want to see. I always love hearing from you guys. And if you want to keep up to date between uploads, I have my social media linked in the description down below and my accessible Twitch stream some Tuesdays and every Sunday, 7:30 Mountain Standard Time. But that's all for today. Bye for now.